see that this is a solid defense. I think it's solid throughout, and as they play games, I think it'll even, and the offense will help them out. It'll even get better.
Okay, Archie. More with Archie Manning, our football analyst here at Channel 4 in just a moment. Still ahead here on 4th down, Saints and yellow hankies. It was like having a caution light on I-10 during rush hour traffic. We'll talk about the mistakes and try and figure out why they happen so frequently. That's next. Stay with us. Just for a moment, put yourself in the Saints players' position, in their shoes, if you will. If you were out of work for 3 weeks, you too might become a bit rusty. Maybe that's why the team struggled to move the ball down the field with some consistency. But it's not the only reason. It's hard to play with penalties, and the Saints had 14. Jim Henderson has more on those miscues.
The question to be answered in this game was rust or rest. How would the 21-day layoff affect the Saints?
While they might have been a bit rusted, they might also have been too well rested, too anxious to play after the unprecedented layoff. They were emotionally charged, but executionally challenged.
You know, it's not very smart you know, it's not what we teach, obviously.
To a man, the Saints seemed to take their head coach's lead, that the inactivity wasn't the cause of their productivity, or lack thereof.
Anything to do with the layoff, the rustiness?
No, we just didn't play well.
You know, maybe it took us out of rhythm in terms of execution, maybe not, but it was just an emotional game out there. I think we got caught up in all emotion.
Instead, most were inclined to blame the flag-happy officiating crew for disrupting their offense just as much as the Giants' defense did.
Officials do what they do. I mean, they're calling this game. I'm a little disappointed in the way the game is, you know, being officiated now, though, on a general basis, because they've taken the fun out of it, personally.
The Saints were penalized on the first play from scrimmage in the game. They were penalized on the last play from scrimmage in the game, twice then on one player, Willie Jackson. The veteran officials had won a 50% increase in their salary since the Saints last played, which they apparently felt obligated them to throw 50% more flags. The Saints were penalized 14 times, the Giants 11 times. On a day when the flag was poignantly significant, so too were those that lowered the Saints' perfect record to half-staff. At Giants Stadium, Jim Henderson, 4th down on 4.
Welcome back here on 4th down. Channel 4 analyst Archie Manning joining us here, and I want to just start off first of all talking about this team against the Giants. 14 penalties, and we know how good the Giants are already, defending NFC champions. You can't have that many penalties to beat this team.
No, I think you go before the game, you tell Jim Haslett and the coaching staff, say, you know, you're going to have 14 penalties today. He says, we lose. So that's too many. There's a lot of penalties being called around the league, so all teams, but they need to eliminate the penalties because it'll certainly get you beat, and 14 is too many. You'll usually lose. First
play of the game, Michael Lewis returns the ball 68 yards on the kickoff return. First play from scrimmage, Kyle Turley gets the unsportsmanlike conduct, and yeah, it was the first play from scrimmage, but that's a momentum killer. I mean,
well, I think it was. You know, I felt like in this game, especially with the Saints having to go to New York, and all the circumstances, if the Saints could score first, I thought it would just be a plus. And when Michael Lewis ran the kickoff back, I said, boy, he gets 7 right there. Now this is really going to help the Saints and can stay ahead. I think they could win the game, but gosh, to get that run and get down there in close to the red zone, and then wind up punting. I mean, we didn't even get 3 out of it. That was tough.
This refereeing crew has averaged over 20 flags a game, we found out today. Is that just the Saints not making the proper adjustments to this crew, or is it just these guys' lack of concentration on their part?
Well, I'm not sure you can adjust to a crew. I mean, as I said, it looks like to me they're calling more officials.
But you have to watch yourself.
Calling more flags. Well, you do, because, I mean, they've kind of alerted the league this year. It's just too much going on, you know, too much shoving, pushing, this and that. And they're going to throw the flags, and I think they're doing it, especially here early in the season. So I'm sure, even though I'm sure some of the officials and review the film, I mean, some of the flags, you view the film, you can say that wasn't right, or that was a bad call. But still, there's a lot of calls. I think all coaches have got to alert their team stop all the junk. You know, let's just play football between the whistles and not afterwards.
Not going to ask you for your expert analysis in terms of giving you a prediction of next week's game against Minnesota, but this is a team in the Vikings dangerous now because they almost went 0-3 today, but they get that victory against Tampa Bay. Very dangerous coming in. Saints have to be ready for this game.
Well, certainly. They're a very explosive team. Now, I would feel real good about it if they'd have lost to Tampa Bay today, but I think that's a team with high expectations that from Sunday to Sunday was what was going to kill that team while they were losing, because they're not used to it. And you saw kind of the bickering and things going on last week. Now, they got a win under their belt, and that's a big win. You beat Tampa Bay, that's a big win. So they got their head up a little bit. Dante Culpepper had a good day. Got the ball to Chris Carter, to Moss a little bit. But still, I don't think they're as good a team as they were last year. I think the Saints offense can go against their defense, and certainly I know Tampa Bay's a good defense, and the Saints defense will have to have a top effort. So it should be a good ball game because now they've got their head up, and it'd be really a second big win for them to come on the road and beat the Saints.
Can the Saints take anything from that preseason game against the Vikings this year?
I don't pay much attention to preseason. I don't think but I don't think they'll forget the.
But the weapons don't change, though.
No, they don't. And you go back to the playoff game last year too. I don't think the Saints are going to forget that. But it's like this coaching staff has said all along. This team was better probably the first day of training camp this year than they were in that playoff game last year. This will be a good ball game. I think the Saints are a better team than the Vikings.
Okay, Archie, we appreciate your time on Sunday. Thanks a lot. Archie Manning, our guest here on Fourth Down. He is our football analyst and provides such great expert analysis for us. More football to get to here on Fourth.
In it that we weren't able to win the game, but we shouldn't be disappointed in the way we physically played or the physical part of the game in terms of the toughness and aggressiveness that we played with.
When last we were together, it was the night of September 9th. The Saints and their traveling party were flying home from Buffalo, basking in the intoxicating glow of victory, and all was right with the world. 36 hours later, that world changed in ways too horrific to imagine, and now we wonder if this world will ever be right again. Each and every one of us mourns a death in the family that is America. Yesterday, we sought to continue our daily lives in the midst of grief. The Saints and the Giants played a football game against each other, but also against the smoldering backdrop of a funeral pyre of 6,000 innocent victims in the gap-toothed skyline of Lower Manhattan. Our lives and our priorities in them will never be the same. It'll be a long time before I'll ever be comfortable calling an athletic contest a must game again. Many fractures in this world must be mended first. There, the healing is a very slow process, but maybe, just maybe, games like yesterday's accelerate it. We will never forget, but for a while yesterday afternoon, we didn't have to remember as much. In the course of the afternoon, I heard boos and cheers, sounds I hadn't heard from others in what seemed like a very long time. On the plane ride home, in the company of old friends, I laughed aloud and consciously tried to recall the last time I had done that. Must have been about 3 weeks prior, coming home from Buffalo, before the end of the innocence 2 days later. That Tuesday morning, the last morning we awoke feeling safe in America. From the back of the plane, there was occasional laughter as well among the players who had suffered a defeat near a city that's shown all of us what suffering really means. The players were thankful to have gotten on with their lives. So many haven't because of others who never will. At the airport and later at the Saints facility, fans cheered the departing players as if their comeback efforts had succeeded rather than failed on the game's final play. Their world, our world, was coming back as well on an uncharted path we have never traveled before and hope to never have to again. And that's Look at Sports.
All right, thanks.
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
An emotional trip to the Big Apple for the Giants home opener. The day's theme, flags, both the red, white, and blue. And the yellow. Was it the team's performance or the officials that cost the Saints the game?
It went on. It just went through me. From the time they sung to the time the game started. And, I just had to settle myself down because I have a job to do.
And Saints players explain how they prepared for a day of such strong feelings. This is Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
Well, aren't you glad that the officials got a 50% raise?
Man, I'm glad that happened. I feel much better.
I didn't think that game was ever going to win. Ever going to end, rather. I'm thinking 2 hours or win. I'm thinking we'll never get out of here and get this stuff on the air. What a long first half. Too many flags, whether they were, no matter who they were against.
Legit or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. These guys must be thinking they're getting paid by the flag. I think one guy had to have, rotator cuff surgery today because he threw so many today. But I think the Saints showed their frustration on the sidelines, not because they lost the game, obviously they were frustrated about that, but because they really thought they had the better team than the Giants, and think that should have been a game that they should have won in the conference that they should have had for down the road.
And of course, I think the officials did not cost the Saints the game. They did. The tone in yesterday's game. You disagree. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll give you time to disagree. The game, the tone was set early by the officials, of course, as much as by the Giants.
Well, the Saints had more penalties and points, but were never out of it until the final seconds. However, this time the effort coming back was too little, too late. For the second straight game, the Saints' first 30 minutes of football left a lot to be desired. Of course, the officials were also a factor by throwing 15 flags, 10 against the Saints. The score was only 14-3 at the half, but the Saints' deficit seemed much larger.
I thought we had too many, like I said, unforced errors, too many penalties, unnecessary roughness penalties that really took us out of our game plan. When you win second and long, third and very long, I mean, you can't really get anything accomplished from that.
Coach Hazard expected a lot of penalties from this crew, but 25 flags is a bit excessive by anyone's standards. Still, with that, they had a shot in the second half.
I thought the offense made a great comeback in the second half. They started picking it up. We started moving the ball a little better. And, again, the penalties in the first half hurt us. We got something going, and we get a penalty and bring us back. I don't know how many times we were second and 30 or second and 25 early.
So if there's one lesson to be learned from Sunday's loss to the Giants, it's that the Saints cannot continue to spot teams an entire half of football. They need to get off to a quick start and get in the end zone. But there's no need to panic.
We just need to do the little things. We need to cut out a lot of the penalties. We hurt ourselves early in the game, and we just didn't fully recover. When you have those type of penalties, you can't win.
Coach Hazard refused to blame the team's 21-day layoff for a less than sharply executed game. He says flat out they just didn't play well, but they did show a lot of character.
To be down and then screw up the onside kick and then still to fight back and, within 8 points with 3 seconds to go says a lot about our football team, that we're a pretty good football team, and we just got to get clicking on all cylinders.
I'll tell you what, Ed, the defense played well. They did give up some big plays, but they played pretty well yesterday. The offense came on late. They just can't afford to wait to the third and fourth quarter to get rolling. You can't win games like that.
And especially against a Giant team that relies on the defense and plays so conservatively. If you can just score early, then you just change everything in the game. Well, the New York Giants, as we said, don't have a lot of sizzle. Often they stay in the game hoping for a chance to win it or for the opposing team to beat themselves. A little of both happened against the Saints Sunday as we go inside the game. The Saints' incessant barking about the officials obscures one of the key reasons why the Giants won Sunday's game. They were the more disciplined team. Michael Lewis's 68-yard kickoff return was a great chance for the Saints to get an early score. But when Kyle Turley's temper got the best of him, the Saints were in an immediate 1st and 23 hole. An early opportunity to get a touchdown in a low-scoring game was wasted, and chances are few against an outstanding Giant defense. Too many penalties? Hard not to call this one. Lamont Hall tackles Michael Strahan on a 6-yard gain by Ricky Williams. Nose tackle Norman Hand was neutralized by the Giant offensive line. One of their tactics was to cut Hand at the line of scrimmage or double team him. On Ron Dane's 55-yard run, the Giants executed a perfect counter. Big Norman, playing off the move of the center, thought the run was going to his left. He was easy pickings for the left guard. The center made the kickoff block on the corner. Ron Dane was off and running. The Saints pay Joe Horn and Albert Connell a lot of cash. But in crunch time, my money is on Willie Jackson as Aaron Brooks' go-to receiver. Since Brooks relieved Jeff Blake in Game 11 of last year against Oakland, Willie Jackson has 9 touchdown receptions in his past 10 games. Against the Giants, Jackson caught 8 for 105 yards and a touchdown.
And here's an example of what free agency can do for you. A guy who's making the league minimum, was on the market in the offseason, got no takers, yet he continually produces for the scant figure of $477,000. I don't know how the guy can afford to pay his bills.
Well, you know, he's not doing as well as you are, but look how he's handling it, huh?
Well.
How about that? Well, the big story Sunday was a return of football to New York following the terrorist attacks. Let's take you inside the headlines. The New York Daily News reads, Giant D able to ground Saints march, hang on as penalties hold off late rally. ESPN.com says lightning strikes before barber pulls hamstring. CNNSI.com reads, Giant relief, home team wins emotional return to the Big Apple. The Sporting News says Giants hang on against Saints in first game back home. And NOLA.com says Giants take advantage of rusty Saints.
Well, blowout was the theme around the NFL this weekend, including some in the NFC West. For a look at Sunday's action, let's go inside the West.
Warner. Let's pick this one up in the second. The Rams' Kurt Warner finds New Orleanian Marshall Faulk with a 10-yard touchdown. Rams up 14-7. The Faulk show isn't over yet. Still in the second quarter, 4th and goal. Warner under heavy pressure finds Faulk in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. The Rams win this one going away over Miami 42-10. In the desert, Falcons at the Cardinals. Early first quarter, Jamal Anderson goes for 2 yards but goes down awkwardly. He gets up limping. Take another look. Anderson's left knee buckles. Looks similar to his knee injury in 1999. Dan Reeves says Jamal Anderson is out for the season. Fourth quarter, the Falcons from their own 21. A swing pass from Chris Chandler to Maurice Smith, and he goes 79 yards for the touchdown. The Falcons win 34-14. Over to Charlotte. Packers and Panthers. Second quarter, 3rd and goal for the Panthers. Chris Winkie, the rookie, completes to former Saint tight end Wesley Walls for the touchdown. The Panthers up 7-0. But the rest of the day belonged to Brett Favre. In the third, Favre finds Bill Schrader in the back of the end zone. He gets both feet on the ground. They roll. They defeat the Panthers 28-7.
If you were watching the game yesterday in Carolina, I know you weren't, you were up in New York, but the whole middle of the field, there's a problem there. It had to be resodded in August because of cool weather in Carolina earlier in the year. Dan Morgan, the linebacker, broke his leg. He blames the turf for getting his cleat stuck in the turf. So let's hope they have that repaired in 2 weeks. Of course, the Saints won't see Dan Morgan when they play in Carolina on October 14th.
And we know, of course, with the Saints, injuries can be a huge factor. They had a ton of them last year.
You got to overcome them.
Absolutely. Well, here's now a look at how the NFC West stacks up. After 3 weeks, the Rams rolled to a 3-0, followed closely by the Falcons at 2-1. Both the Saints and 49ers are 1-1. But the 49ers play the New York Jets in tonight's Monday night matchup right here on ABC 26. Kickoff is less than 2 hours away, and the Panthers are bringing up the rear at 1-2.
You can't really get caught up in the hoopla and all that. So, you know, once the game started, I think, you know, all that was behind us.
Saints players describe the range of emotions before the game and how they prepare to get back to business.
Later, Jim Haslett on the flag business. His opinions on the officials and all those penalties, one-on-one. More ahead on Inside Saints.
Welcome back to Inside Saints. Of course, we all knew the first home game for the New York Giants since the terrorist attacks was going to be an emotional one.
Well, pregame ceremonies remembered the tragedy of September 11th. In a special edition of Inside the Helmet, what it meant to the Saints and how they prepared for something much bigger than a game.
Just an emotional game out there. I think we got caught up in all the emotion.
The moment was, for everyone playing, it's just emotions were flying. But that's the beginning of every game. After a while, you have to settle down and play football. It was an emotional game throughout the whole thing, and in the end, it built up, it built again.
Touched home a little bit because, you know, where you're at and everything that happened here, but, you know, once the whistle blows, it's all about football. Coach talked about along the way, you know, it's gonna be some emotion. He told us, you know, it's all right to feel the emotion, but at the same time, you know, you got a job to do.
You can feel it. I mean, everything that went on, it just went through me. From the time they sung to the time the game started, and you know, I just had to settle myself down because I have a job to do.
And of course, Coach Haslett talked a lot about that going into this game, about the emotion, but not until you're standing there in that stadium do you feel all of it. And then they had to turn around and try to play football, so it's quite an emotional start to yesterday's ball game.
And of course, talking to friends in New York over the last few weeks, you can feel the emotion through the phone line, even though you aren't there. Really a sad time in our country. But it's on to football, and we'll have a lot more of that in the weeks to come.
Rookie running back Moran Norris finds a new friend. Find out why it's a friendship about the future.
And one-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett. Find out his plans to put the Giants behind and get his team ready for its first home game in 51 days. Ahead on Inside Saints.
I love it, all right?
Rookie running back Moran Norris knows the value of mentoring. It's something he did in college. This season, Norris is mentoring Lionel Wells, a student at Jefferson Community School.
I'm sure you have a lot of people that's over him, just telling him the do's and don'ts and telling him to stop or whatever not. So I'm just going to be more of a good friend to him, just be more, you know, laid back with him, but make sure that he don't get out of line or anything.
And just one way to keep Lionel in line is Norris's gift of tickets, so Lionel and his classmates can watch a Saints game in the Superdome this year.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
And you know, after the Buffalo game with the replacement refs, Jim Haslett said he loved the flow of the game. He liked the replacement refs. Maybe the real refs may have read that, because I think they hammered the Saints yesterday. Just look at the 3 reversals of the calls. 2 of them stopped Saints drives in scoring territory. Another one kept a Giants drive alive with the fumble that led to a touchdown. So much so that the league actually apologized to Coach Moore yesterday. But, you know, that's the way it goes. The Saints filled in their reports today on the officials. Against Buffalo, they questioned 1 play. In this game, they sent in 5 pages.
Well, they get graded on game to game, and we'll turn in, you know, grades that obviously they won't be real high. We'll turn our grades in, and we'll also, whatever questions we want to answer, we'll turn a couple sheets in, or whatever plays that we need to have them review, and we'll see if they made the right call.
Right, you don't want to blame anything on officials, but boy, that sure took you out of field position early. Those plays, Carmelo's fumble gives them a chance to score that first touchdown. So it really did make a difference in this game.
Well, we knew going into the game this crew called a lot of penalties, and we didn't do a very good job of maybe just understanding that what they call. You know, we scout the officials to make sure that our guys have an understanding of what they call. We didn't do a very good job. But with that, you know, we had a lot of calls. We were a lot of second and long and a lot of third and long, and to their credit, they got after us a little bit, and we need to stay out of those situations.
So when the NFL will look at the film, they're going to call you and say, hey, you know what, they were wrong on those 3 plays. Is that going to make you feel any better?
Probably not. No, it won't be 3, too. There's about 5 pages of them. No, it was, it's something that you just turn in, and what they do, they take it into account, and they grade, when they grade the officials at the end of the year and who's going to work the playoffs and who's going to work the Super Bowl, all the officials have been graded through every game.
Yeah, well, it was a 3-hour and 35-minute game, so it was really, really just they controlled the entire outcome. What about coming home now? 51 days it's been since you played in the Superdome. It'd be nice to see a few faces you might recognize in the stands.
Well, it's nice to be home. You know, we've been away for so long. I think our players will be excited about playing home again and getting a crowd behind us. I know we played Dallas the last time, but it does seem like a long time ago. And it will be nice to, you know, to have home field advantage.
Yeah, I hadn't had that in a while. When you come home, you play the Minnesota Vikings, a team that traditionally the Saints have not done real well against. But you're, even with them at home, you're 6-14 against the Vikings overall. Of course, that's not just you, but 4-4 at home. So it's a good chance to get them and then get them coming off a win against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they played well last week against Tampa. They struggled the first couple games, but they're a good football team. Obviously, that's the team that beat us in the playoffs and in a preseason game. But you know, we'll play much better than we did in a playoff game. I think we have more weapons now. We just got to get on track. But again, I think the big thing is we're going to be at home.
Yeah. Does it make a difference that playing week to week as opposed to 3 weeks off?
Yeah, it really does. You know, I'm not saying we were rusty that first game back, but you know, we struggled in some areas. I thought we played extremely well on defense, and the offense struggled early, and then we finally got in a groove. And you know, as bad as we played in all phases, I mean, we had a lot of penalties, and we didn't move the ball well enough, but we still had a chance to win the game at the end, or at least tie it. I give our players a lot of credit, and to their character, you know, they're character guys, and they fought through the whole game, and we still had a chance to win the game.
Mm-hmm. One of the great stories I heard during spring training, and one of the things you got to do in football is move on. Tell me about dropping the fruit. What is that all about?
Well, that's one of our special teams coach, Al Everest. He uses that phrase that I guess when they catch monkeys, they put fruit in a cage, and the monkey will never let go of the fruit because he's going to eat it. So it's his phrase to forget the last play, move on. You know, drop the fruit. He always says, drop the fruit. The first couple times I was wondering, drop what fruit? You know, I had to look around the room because there's not a lot to eat in a room. But that's one of his phrases, and he uses it all the time. You know, forget that last play, just move on. We got to go on.
Of course, you got to drop the fruit. Anyway, I think I said Jim Moore. The league apologized to Jim Moore. Of course, they might apologize to him too, but they did apologize to Coach Haslett. One other thing Coach Haslett told me after that interview, the Carolina situation, that field is so bad, they don't think they're going to be able to play on it next week when the Saints go to Carolina. They'll maybe move that game, possibly to Clemson like they did before that stadium was built, or maybe they'll just switch the home dates, and the Saints may play 3 games in a row at home. So we'll see what happens with that situation.
You know what, Harry? The officiating was bad, but you know what? It's time for you to drop the fruit.
Got to move on, you know.
Got to move on.
That's not easy for me to do.
One receiver is nicknamed the Freak. The other claims he catches only touchdown passes.
We'll look at what the Saints must do to ground the Vikings air assault when Inside Saints continues.
As of Monday afternoon, there are 5,200 tickets left for the Saints-Vikings game in the Superdome on Sunday.
If you're going to the game, be aware of the new security plans. Fans are encouraged to arrive early and get to your seats as quickly as possible to avoid congestion. Backpacks, fanny packs, and large purses will be banned from the Superdome. Finally, all vehicles parking in Superdome garages will be subject to inspection, so arrive early to avoid delays. And this Sunday, forget the fact the Vikings just won their first game of the season. The Vikings will come to play.
If the Saints want to win, they'll need to eliminate the Viking passing game and try to contain Deontay Culpepper. The key matchup to watch, the Saints cornerbacks versus Randy Moss and Chris Carter. The two combined for 10 catches and 241 yards in January's playoff loss to the Vikings. Time to make predictions, and I know what you guys are going to do, and I'm not going to disagree or agree with you anymore, so I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Saints. You're right. They're going to come back and play well. It'll be close, but the Saints will win.
And who is Harry going to pick?
Let's see, Harry.
Well, the Saints are going to drop the fruit, but you know it's tough for me to drop any kind of food product. So I'm going to go with the Vikings this week because the Saints are 6-14 against the Vikings, and until the Saints can beat them, I can't drop that fruit.
Wow. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks.
All right, love those detailed explanations. We thank you for watching Inside Saints. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night.
Inside Saints, the official TV show of the New Orleans Saints, is an exclusive presentation of ABC 26 Sports.
Well, there really is no place like home. A year ago, the Saints were 7-1 on the road, 3-5 at home, becoming the first team in NFL history to go to the playoffs with a losing record at home. Now, just imagine what could happen if the Saints can become as dominant a team at home as they have been on the road. Yesterday was a glorious step in that direction. 70,000 fans in full throat and an ear-splitting PA reduced neighboring ticket holders to lip readers and the Viking offense to signing as their primary means of communication. That noise prompted frequent Viking timeouts, false starts, and delay of game penalties. In other words, more interruptions than a Janet Jackson concert tour. And did you notice how much better the officiating became here with a sellout crowd behind the Saints than it was last week with a sellout crowd behind the Giants? The Saints threw the ball 30 times yesterday. Aaron Brooks wasn't sacked once, and maybe, just maybe, the fact that the Saints weren't flagged even once for a holding call on a passing play helped account for that. And maybe the presence of that most vocal support enhanced the visual acuity of the officials. In New York, the Saints lost all 3 replay challenges. In the Superdome yesterday, they won them both, back-to-back, in fact, which could have produced a 14-point swing in the game if they had gone in the Vikings' favor. A 14-point swing in a game the Saints won by 13. Now, clearly, the Saints have ascended to a new level. No longer will this team sneak up on superior opponents who have overlooked them as they did to Carolina in a 6-10 '97 season, or to Dallas as they did in a 6-10 '98 season, or to Dallas as they did in a 3-13 '99 season. The Saints have gone from winning an occasional game that they shouldn't to winning most of the games that they should. And now the challenge is for them not to overlook heavy underdogs, as they were once overlooked themselves in that role not too long ago. Just the sort of challenge they face next week in Carolina. But how wonderful it is as a Saints fan to say that you can't wait for next week instead of already having to wait for next year. And that's Look at Sports.
That's a great line.
It is a change.
Very nice, Jim.
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
Saints defense set the tone from the very first play. The running game came to life. But it was his record-tying performance that sealed the Saints' win.
With a lot of help from a loud, sellout crowd, Coach Jim Haslett talks one-on-one about the fan frenzy.
The day that Miami released me, only one person had faith, and that was my wife. I gave up on football.
He thought his career was over. What gave Norman Hand the strength to carry on and become a dominating force on the Saints defense? This is Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
In January, Robert Smith was on the field and healthy. Ricky Williams was on the field at the Metrodome, but not healthy. In October, Robert Smith retired, and Ricky Williams was healthy. To me, that was a big difference in what we saw on Sunday.
Also, Terrell Smith was healthy and playing, which paves the way for Ricky to do what he did yesterday.
Agree.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I tell you what, when you look at this team, you look down the road, there's a lot of meat left on the bone, if you know what I mean. This team can get a lot better, especially a quarterback with Aaron Brooks. And I think I've always said one of the strengths of this club is their coaching staff. And I think Mike McCarthy, Jim Haslett and company are going to get him straightened up. And this team, they don't want to peak too early. They'll be peaking just right down the road.
I think Harry's picking the Saints to get to the Super Bowl.
Well, you guys both picked the Vikings last week, right?
Did he really?
Yeah, both of you guys.
Did
you didn't want to pick who I picked.
We just got to be different, that's all. Like I told Jim Haslett after the game. Well, last week, Haslett said his team was still searching for an identity.
This week, I think they found it. It's called dominating defense. They say defense wins championships. If that holds true, the Saints are on their way, and hopefully the offense won't be far behind.
Dante Culpepper to Randy Moss is a lethal combination. But yesterday, the Saints neutralized the Vikings' aerial attack by controlling the line and setting the tone.
It's tough when, you know, you got a front four like they got. You know, they played a great job. I think, you know, they just put the pressure on me, and I couldn't really find anything but underneath routes. And, you know, they had a great game plan for us.
And what a plan it was. The Vikings only managed 34 yards rushing, and their 306 passing yards only led to 15 points. That, according to Norman Hand, was a key.
Last two games we played him, we didn't even touch him, so his uniform stayed clean. Today we did a great job of hitting him after he threw the ball, kind of set the tempo with Joe first sack, and then from there on, it just led us to victory.
Another key was the physical play of the secondary. It helped them frustrate Moss and Chris Carter and give the safeties time to make their reads.
And you have to go out there and, you know, jam the guy up and not let him have a clean release. You know, we watched the guy on film, and everybody was just letting him run. And, you know, when you just let him run, he's going to outrun everybody. So our main thing was just go out there and disrupt him a little bit and let the safeties read and not feel pressure with him running up and down the field without being touched.
The defense recorded 6 sacks. This one led to Chris Odom's 38-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. Jay Bellamy picked off a pass, and Kevin Mathis came up with a touchdown-saving strip. But Coach Hazzard said he gave the game ball to the special teams for great coverage and putting the Saints in good field position all day. That, of course, helped the offense get off to its best start of the season, as Ricky Williams scored the team's first-half touchdown of the year on his way to rushing for 136 yards and catching 5 passes for 42 more.
I've been saying it, you know, since training camp. He's really come into his own. He's running hard, breaking tackles. He's getting into secondary, making people miss. I think he's going to get better and better.
Right, it's a good thing when the offense can still kind of struggle. They haven't done well in the red zone, but come away with the win. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, you can kick field goals against some teams, but against the really good teams, got to get those touchdowns, like the Rams later on in October. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, in their preseason opener against the Vikings, the Saints allowed a long touchdown pass to Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper to scramble unchecked shortly after the Saints decided on a new plan for Sunday's rematch against the Vikings. Let's go inside the game.
The Saints' defensive game plan was simple and effective. Double cover Randy Moss. Safety Sammy Knight was shading Moss all day. Moss caught 4 passes for 48 yards. He got 29 and a touchdown when safety Jay Bellamy slipped. The Saints were also determined not to let Dante Culpepper run, a strategy that paid huge rewards. In the first half, number 56, Charlie Clemens, forces Culpepper to throw. An interception to Jay Bellamy. Check out number 93, right end Darren Howard. He's not rushing, but playing contained. He strips the ball from Culpepper. Chris Oldham scoops it up and runs 38 yards for a touchdown. The Saints continue to struggle on offense because of foolish penalties. Center Jerry Fontenot tells Kyle Turley to calm down. But moments later, Fontenot's late hit on number 20, Kenny Wright, cost the Saints 15 yards, turning a possible touchdown into a field goal. Of course, Aaron Brooks has to do a better job of reading defenses. Watch the cornerback, Eric Kelly. He appears to be playing man-to-man on the wide receiver, but it's a zone. If Brooks had zipped the ball to Willie Jackson, it would have been a touchdown, but instead, he floated it. Jackson had to quickly switch from offense to defense. The Vikings' offensive line was atrocious. 6 Vikings are blocking 3 Saints, and Leroy Glover still gets the sack. But of course, the Vikings lost both starting offensive tackles from last year. Corey Stringer tragically passed away in training camp, and Todd Stussy left the Vikings for free agency and the Carolina Panthers.
Again, when you lose 2 great tackles like that, and you lose Robert Smith, and Michael Bennett may be a good back in this league, but Robert Smith was one of the best. And if he would have been there yesterday, the Saints maybe would have had to creep up a little bit and play the run a little more honestly. Of course, Minnesota only threw the ball 11 times in the game.
I think that's an amazing stat.
Yep. I mean, only ran the ball 11 times in the game. Threw it a lot more.
Threw it a lot more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Saints avenged last season's playoff loss with a dominating defensive performance. Let's go inside the headlines to see what sports writers around the nation are saying. In the land of Vikings, the Minnesota Star-Tribune this morning read, "The Big Queasy, New Orleans stops Vikings." The Sporting News reads, Williams Kearney leads Saints past struggling Vikes. CNNSI.com says, Dr. Dreads, Williams leads Saints to a 28-15 win against Vikings. ESPN.com reads, Saints contain Moss. And NOLA.com says, sweet revenge, Saints D, Ricky Williams rout Vikings.
The 49ers finally get a victory over a former coach, and the Bears are too much for the Jamal Anderson-less Falcons. Let's take a look at Sunday's action as we go inside the West.
In the 49er tradition, San Francisco has one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Jeff Garcia ran for a touchdown and threw for 2 to Terrell Owens. The 49ers had lost 4 straight to George Seifert's Panthers, but they were ready to rumble. Tackle Derek Deese and the Panthers' Jared Cooper were ejected for fighting. The Niners win 24-14 to drop the Panthers to 1-3. In Atlanta, the Bears sacked Michael Vick 6 times. Brian Urlacher scoops up Vick's fumble and runs 90 yards for a touchdown. The Bears win 31-3, the first time they've scored 30 points in a game since 1998.
Well, here's now a look at how the NFC West stacks up. After Week 4, St. Louis is the sole undefeated team in the NFL at 3-0, but that could change. They play tonight on Monday Night Football against Detroit. Bad chance. Watch it on ABC 26. The 49ers sit at 3-1. The Saints move to 2-1. The Falcons are next at 2-2. And the Saints' next opponent, the Panthers, are last on the list at 1-3.
Get in my huddle. Saints quarterback Jeff Blake. Next, find out how he stays ready to play.
You know, what I do on the field, you know, it's business, and when I do off the field, it's a lot more pleasure.
And what brings pleasure to the life of Norman Hand. See another side of the Saints' big man on the defensive line coming up.
Later, one-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett. The fans provided the emotional lift to boost the Saints to victory over the Vikes. But we'll make some noise about the extra help. Stay tuned for more Inside Saints.
What do you say, man?
We got the inside scoop on the Saints' Jeff Blake as he took time off from football to quarterback the home team on 102.9. How does Jeff relax, and what about those game day superstitions?
Basically, I like to go to the nice restaurants and eat. Basically, my kids play ball. My kids, both of my sons play football. I love to go watch them play, and basically, I'm just involved with them, and basically, I like to have an opportunity to go around and just, you know, eat all the nice cuisine that I can find. Not really. I just strap it up and go. You know, I've been doing it long enough now, and I've been playing football basically more than half of my life. So there's no superstition things that I do.
Every week, get the inside scoop on Inside Saints.
Norman Hand is 6'3", 320 pounds. That's what they say, and a dominating defender on the field.
Off the field, he's a gentle giant who enjoys time with his wife and kids and spends his off days at Children's Hospital. Tonight, we go inside the helmet as Norman shows his hand.
Norman and Tammy Hand have been teammates since college. They're married with 2 children and enjoying life at home as well as in the NFL.
She always starts off fast. She just like the St. Louis Rams. They always start off fast.
Stay sharp.
They can walk down at the end.
Norman does the dirty work. He clogs up the middle on the run and is a centerpiece on a Saints defense that led the league in sacks last year. But his career didn't start off this way.
I wasn't drafted. I've been cut. I've been a backup. I went from not playing at all to playing a lot. And I think, you know, that's why I appreciate the game a lot more now, because I've been through the tough times. I know what it takes to make it in this league.
Norman says he wanted to give up on football after the Dolphins waived him in '97, but his wife Tammy kept the faith. The next day, he signed with the Chargers.
She used to watch game film with me, so it does, because she knows the game and she knows what I need to do.
So much so that Norman says he'd rather deal with his position coach Sam Clancy or defensive coordinator Ron Zook than his wife. In fact, before Norman signed with the Saints, Tammy told Coach Haslett and company what she expected from them and what Norman needed to improve on.
I need to pass rush more, I need to be on third downs more, and also I need to use my hands more and kind of escape the blocks a lot more, a lot quicker. So they was very shocked that she knows so much about football and what I do.
Norman wants to play another 3 to 5 years. Then he wants to get a big RV and tour the country with his wife and kids.
I'm going to leave it all out on the field, and then when it's time for me to go, I'm definitely going to leave the game. I probably won't even watch another NFL game. I just want to ride off in the sunset. I don't want to think about football no more.
He's not a guy who definitely leads it on the field. Can you imagine his wife telling Haslett about what Norman needed to do?
Yeah, somebody needs to put Haslett in his place every once in a while. You know, when Haslett and Mueller gave this guy a $5 million bonus in free agency last year, a lot of people around the league said, you know, that might be a big mistake. But if you want to invest $5 million in a football player,
that's probably the person to do it.
Not only is he a great player, but he's an incredible influence in the clubhouse.
Yeah, good person.
It's guys you win with.
Kind of like you.
Guys like me, you betcha. Don't smile too much when you say that.
With a little help from the Saints, these young football players will get to play like never before. The Saints lighting up the dreams of some kids coming up.
And one-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett. The team loaded up on emotion for the Vikings. How does he prepare the Saints for next week when Inside Saints returns?
Inside the heart of the Saints is the team teaming up with the city of New Orleans to turn the lights on at Alfred Harrell Park. That gives youth football players a chance to play night games. The Saints donated $60,000 and the city came up with $90,000 more in partnership with the Local Initiatives Support Corporation. But it takes no lights at all to light up the lives of young players who couldn't wait for a chance to meet their NFL idols and play a little football.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
You know, Jim Haslett is really a freak when it comes to attention to detail, and that includes on the stadium on game day, no doubt about that. He was really upset last year when the Darth Vader fans, remember they had those front row seats? That won't happen again, I assure you that. And then last year in the NFL meetings, Haslett brought up the fact that the speakers on the side of the Minnesota sidelines last year, and Denny Green, who was in charge of that meeting, said, hey, you have a dome, use it to your advantage. Well, this Sunday, Denny Green found out that advantage firsthand.
Well, yeah, you know, obviously being at home has to play into our favor. And last year being 3-5 at home, we're looking for ways to take advantage of the dome, because when we pack it and those people are loud, it plays into our advantage. And yesterday, you know, the fans were loud, and I think that caused some false starts. It did mess us up a few times because we got to use hand signals on the defensive secondary now. But for the most part, I thought the fans were outstanding yesterday.
But as an organization as a whole now, that's the rule now, do anything we can to get an advantage?
Well, I think that's part of it. You know, when we went up to Minnesota last year, that was our first experience in a dome when they had the speakers behind the bench, and how loud it was, and they were piping in crowd noise and music. And if the NFL says that's okay, and that plays to your advantage, which it did up there, we thought we'd copycat a little bit and follow suit.
Now, in baseball, we used to always say you can't get too high, you can't get too low. But that's not the case in football. You have to be high every week. Now, after coming off a big win against Minnesota, now you got Carolina, and you go on the road, so you got to gear up again, I guess.
Well, I think that is a good statement. You don't get too high with the highs and too low with the lows, because you are going to have adversity in over a 16-game period, just like last week when we lost to the Giants. But I think reality is that to be a championship football team, you got to play consistent week in and week out. And we really haven't been in a groove, and I think you can see us starting to come together. And we're not where we want to be yet, but the defense is playing outstanding. Special teams, offense is doing a good job moving the ball. We just got to do a good job of cutting out the penalties and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. But I think we're coming together. We play good on the road. I know we'll play well this week, and our guys will be fired up to get out of Carolina.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's cool to be off to a 2-1 start. But as I look at your club, it looks like you're really moving fast, but like in third gear. And like I think you just kind of mentioned, there might be a couple more gears that you can go to, which is pretty exciting.
Well, I still think we can elevate our play. If you look at, I don't know, stats don't mean anything, but we're in the top 10 in both offense and defense, but we're not generating enough points on offense. I think defense, we can even be better. We can get some more turnovers. And I think the big thing is our offense is not turning the ball over. We only have 2 turnovers in 3 games, and I think we're +5 for the year, which is outstanding at this point. So if we can continue to do those type of things and, cut out the foolish penalties and do some better things in the red zone, that we're going to be a better football team.
Yeah, and we all know Aaron Brooks is such a wonderful athlete. He probably has a little more room to grow too, you know?
Well, people forget it's his 10th start, and he made a a poor decision on the interception, but that's something Aaron will learn from, and he'll grow from that. But again, he comes through when you have to. He makes plays on his feet. He'll do a better job as the more and more he sees and the more and more he starts. But I still think the bottom line, for at least for our football team, the way we structure it, we want to be a great defensive team. We're going to run the football. We're going to play good, sound special teams, and then we're going to take our shots on offense. So, and right now I think it's coming together.
Yeah, I just love that thinking. Push, push, push. Make the NFL kind of rein you in instead of the other way, a way where you're always reacting to the other teams, trying to play catch-up. Heck, make those other teams play catch-up with you. So I really like the Saints thinking, even from the head coach, I mean, from the general manager on down. And then it's, you know, it's permeating throughout this whole building here, where even now the game day guys are saying, hey, let's find a way to give our team an advantage.
And they did it with the speakers. I was in the Metrodome in January. Kim, you were there as well.
It was awful.
It was brutal, but you know what the worst thing was? There was a guy standing up in front of me the whole game.
The one you got thrown out?
Yeah, no, he got thrown out. I stayed in the game. Remember?
I tell you what, one of the things that Hazard said to Harry was that he talked about special teams. Remember this time last year, special teams was atrocious. That's a big improvement for this ball club.
Got to get better there.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about it. They've done a good job, and he gave the game balls to the special teams guys this week. So they really did a good job. And again, I always go back to it, but the strength of this team is coaching, and they'll find a way. All
right, Harry and Kim, the victory over the Vikings wasn't the only treat in the Superdome for the home crowd. No more wiggling out of your seat when you want something to eat. ABC 26's Melinda Spalding has the story of FanLink. Hungry? Just dial your cell phone and look for the guys in the orange shirts.
While Saints fans are rooting for the black and gold in the stands, new technology at the Dome can now let them eat, drink, and be merry without ever waiting in concession lines and missing out on the action on the field. A new service called FanLink links club-level fans with the food they want right in their seats.
They're using any wireless device, cell phone, Palm Pilot, to order food from their seat. They can dial 188-FANLINK or bookmark the site on their WAP phone or on a Palm phone.
Here's how it works. First, fans call and place their orders. Then their requests are routed to the kitchen. Then orders are put together. Trays are packed. And then the food's delivered to fans right in their seats. Was it pretty easy for you to do?
Oh, it was very easy. Everything by the phone. They guided you right through it. Very easy to do.
Convenient?
Very convenient. As long as you have a cell phone or one of them pocket thingies.
FanLink hopes to have fans dialing in at 4 other stadiums by the end of the year. For now, club-level Saints fans in sections 332 to 340 can eat up the delivery convenience. FanLink plans to expand throughout the entire club level as the season goes along. For Inside Saints, I'm Melinda Spalding.
Time now to make a prediction on the Saints at Carolina. I don't think this is going to be a tough one.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick the Saints.
Wow.
I know.
Harry, I know you're going to pick the Saints.
Defense has won one game. Ricky Williams has won one game. Aaron Brooks wins this game.
All right, and I'll go with the Saints as well at Carolina.
Wow.
I don't think it'll be too much of a game. If it is, might be on the road, but I don't think so. For all of us here at ABC 26, we thank you for watching and taking a journey inside Saints.
Inside Saints, the official TV show of the New Orleans Saints, is an exclusive presentation of ABC 26 Sports.
The Saints finally open at home and rock the Dome. The LSU Tigers can say goodbye to the top 25, while it's more of the same for the Tulane Green Wave. It's all on tonight's 4th Down on 4. I guess you can call it sweet revenge, and 70,000 plus savored all 60 minutes of it. Hi again, everyone. I'm Watkin King. Welcome to another Sunday night edition of 4th Down on 4. What a game, huh? Ricky Williams just showing out. One quick note about him. He surpassed Archie Manning on the Saints' all-time rushing list. Thank goodness for that. And the Saints defense, perhaps the best performance by them all season long. The Saints, clearly the better team today, winning 28-15. And Lee Zurich has our game recap.
Football fan could probably figure out why the Saints won this game. On offense, they controlled the ball. Their time of possession more than 34 minutes. Ricky Williams rushed for 136 yards and 30 plays. Chris Carter and Randy Moss caught 4 balls apiece. Dante Culpepper should be sore after the Saints sacked him 6 times.
They've been an Achilles heel for us the last couple of years, and so coming out and beating them early in the season, you know, you definitely want to do that. We want to set the tone for the season. Teams, how they view us. You know, come out and beat a good Vikings team, you get your respect back, and that's what we need to do.
It was well deserved by the offensive line and Ricky. Ricky ran the ball really well tonight. Offensive line probably felt like they had something to prove. And they took advantage of our situation during the run game, and it showed for Ricky.
Maybe the hardcore football fan knows how the Saints had so much success. First on offense, their strategy spread the Vikings out. They used 3, sometimes 4 receivers. That gave Ricky Williams plenty of room to run. The offensive line just 5 or 6 defenders to block. And by the time the second half rolled around, Ricky in the running game had worn the Vikings defense out.
We had a good game plan. We came out and ran a little no-huddle, and that kind of threw them off guard. Got the receivers in the game early, got AB and throwing the ball early. So we just had a good game plan, and we just executed.
We did a good job. You know, we lined up and did a little no-huddle and jumpstart the offense, and it's something that we feel good about because we feel like we got 4 quality receivers, and we can jump in and out of that if we want. And also, the running game is what we're going to live on. So I thought Ricky's coming into his own did a heck of a job today.
We could sense that they were up against the ropes at that point. Our offensive line was starting to wear on them, and Ricky obviously was. And it was kind of reverted back to the Buffalo week, where late in the game we just started opening holes, and Ricky no one was around him to tackle him. I mean, he was making moves and running over people, so it had a little bit of that feel again.
The Saints finally found a way to slow down Randy Moss and Chris Carter. The key, putting pressure on quarterback Dante Culpepper. They sacked him 6 times in the game. The Saints' game plan on defense, be physical with the Vikings' big receivers. Randy Moss and Chris Carter saw lots of bump and run coverage. Come fourth quarter, the Saints could sense the Vikes wideouts were frustrated.
Basically get in their face and not let them have a clean release off the line and just climb up on the safeties real quick, because, just watching those guys on film, they can release off the line and not be touched, and just have the safeties in panic trying to get back and stay over top of them. So that was our main focus, not to let them off the line.
I'm sure they got a little frustrated. Anytime you can't get the ball to you, it's frustrating. And what can they do? They're great players, and they made a couple good plays today. But that's the nature of the game.
The Saints made 2 key defensive plays in this one, probably the biggest in the second quarter. Chris Carter beats the defense for an apparent touchdown. But watch Kevin Mathis coming in to strip the football away. Instead of a 1-point lead at the half, the Saints had a somewhat comfortable 8-point cushion.
Didn't get beat. It was a scheme. We were in a position where we had a blitz, and we asked him to cover Carter for 100 yards by 53, which is hard, and they blocked the blitz up. And I mean, nobody can cover a guy for that long. But the thing he did, he made a great play coming back and stripping the ball. And it might look like he got beat, but it was a scheme.
The other big play in the third quarter, Dante Culpepper sacked by Darren Howard. Chris Oldham picks up the loose ball and returns it the other way for the score.
And the Saints have it, and they may have 6.
Anytime we get a turnover on defense, we like it to be, a big play in the game. Our whole point when we get turnovers is to score. You know what I mean? Our whole mindset going into this game is we knew we were going to have to get 3 to 4 turnovers, and we did that, and we won the game. And that's our mindset every game.
The final score, 28-15. But if you think about it, this could have been a lot worse. If you turn John Carney's 5 field goals into touchdowns, the Saints would have left the Dome with a blowout victory.
It was good. It's definitely a step in the right direction. It's nowhere near where we want to be, because obviously penalties hurt us again. And I think for Ricky, it's great. He's definitely capable of more, because we're capable of doing more up front. So, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
We have one goal in mind, and that's to keep on rolling every week. Unfortunately, last week it is over, but it was a bad situation for us. We just tried to keep on doing. We didn't change anything. We kept doing what we do in practice, and today it showed.
Go, baby. Take it over. Take it over.
Take it on back to Minnesota. Take it on back to Minnesota. Here we go, Jack.
At the Superdome, I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down on 4.
Some game notes for you. Aaron Brooks wasn't spectacular, just 50% on his passing for 210 yards. One interception on a ball that probably should have been thrown away. This game was won on the ground and through the legs of Ricky Williams. 30 carries, 136 yards, his first 100-yard game this season, and 1 touchdown. The passes sprayed around to the Saints receivers, and once again, Willie Jackson leading the way with 6 receptions, 95 yards. Williams caught 5, Robert Wilson 2 for 23 yards. Plenty of game balls could have been passed out today also, even giving kicker John Carney one for his team record, tying 5 field goals. Last but certainly not least, defense, defense, defense. It wins games. Won today. 4 players totaling 6 sacks. A big reason why the Vikings were just 1 for 8 on 3rd down conversions. And I'd like to think that the guy we have joining us tonight, Fred Thomas, cornerback for the Saints, a big part of that. First of all, I want to get an injury update from you. I know you went out of the game. Was it a rib problem, and how are you feeling now?
Yeah, it was a real problem. As I made a tackle, I rolled over, and some of the guys that were on the sideline, they weren't able to get out the way in a hurry. And I just ran into one of those guys' knees, and it just kind of knocked the wind out of me, and it kind of had me a little bit shaken up for the moment, but I'm okay.
Vikings, a team that has given the Saints fits over the last many years. You guys finally get the monkey off your back. I heard Aaron Brooks talking about that tonight. The monkey's off of the back of this team. Is that the way you feel? Yeah, I think so. As a team, we came in this year, especially after we seen the schedule and saw that we had to play these guys again, knowing that they had knocked us out of the playoffs. Especially we got 2 shots at those guys to learn what they had going on with the preseason game and then the regular season game. So we were very excited to come out and play this game. The build-up leading to this game, we talked about all the weapons the Vikings had, from Randy Moss and Chris Carter to Chamberlain to Bennett in the backfield, Klein Sasser. But obviously the focus was on containing, maybe not stopping, because it's kind of difficult to stop Moss and Carter, but containing those 2 guys. Your feelings on that? Are they as tough one-on-one, since you go up against them one-on-one, as we that with the untrained eye see? I think so. I mean, hey, the guys have proven this. Both those guys have proven themselves, throughout the years. Carter, Hall of Fame receiver, and Moss, a Pro Bowl receiver. Those 2 guys make the Pro Bowl consistently. And then Dante Culpepper, I mean, our main focus was to go out there and key on all 3 of those guys. If we could contain Culpepper and keep him in the pocket and stop Moss from running down the field freely, then I think we had a pretty fair shot at beating those guys. You led the team in tackles, 7 tackles. I know you didn't know that before we started this, but, you almost got an interception as well. Let's talk about that a little bit. It's just a case of we just wanted to play, heads up football and stay deep with those guys. And as I went up for the ball, he kind of played defense himself to stop me from catching the ball. He knocked it out of my hands, and I think that was a great job by him being a defender and stopping the defender from getting the interception. Kevin Mathis got a great interception. The guy plays big. I heard a commentator talking last week that this is one of the best hitting cornerbacks in the league. Showed it today, but he also comes up with a big interception. He did this all the time with Dallas, and now he's proving his worth here with the Saints. Yeah, I mean, Kevin has a big heart, man. That guy, he goes in and work hard every day in practice, and it doesn't matter what you do to him during the game. The next play, he's going to come back and play you and fight. He understands the game. He understands that the people on the other side of the ball, they're going to make plays also. But that guy, he goes out, man, and he just like you see on this play, and he goes out, and it's 100 yards. But hey, the guy only needed 1 yard to score a touchdown, and he goes in and stops him and pops the ball out, and semi-night recovery. So that guy, his heart, man, you cannot. You can question his size, but you cannot question his heart. And he's proven over many years, because he's a veteran in this league, that he can perform. Correct. Does he help you guys a lot? I imagine that with a lot of young guys on this Saints defense, looking at a veteran like him. Yeah, I think so. I mean, even Fred Weir and Steve Israel, those guys are not 100% healthy. Those guys are basically coaches out there, on the sideline also. And they're on the sideline, hey, they're doing this to us. We need to change this, or you can look for this. Those guys are coaches too. Even though they're not in the game physically, they're also out there mentally. Absolutely. Fred Thomas, our guest here on 4th Down. More with you in just a second. But still to come here on 4th Down, Major League Baseball. Welcome back to 4th Down. How many times have you heard a head coach or a player, or maybe even a fan say, defense wins championships? Teams like the Redskins and Seahawks have learned this the hard way this season. Today, the Vikings got their lesson from the Saints' front 4. It took about 10 seconds to see just where this game would be won or lost, in the trenches. And it was Saints defensive end Joe Johnson sending the first message to Dante Culpepper that time would not be on his side today.
We knew that would be key to the game. We had to create pressure and do it without doing a lot of blitzing. A lot of blitzing, you create one-on-one matchups down the field. So we knew it would be important if we could double the receivers and create pressure with just a 3 or 4 man line, and we did that today.
In fact, 2 of the Vikings' first 3 snaps ended up with Culpepper tasting turf. The second pull down coming from defensive end Darren Howard. He had 2 sacks. Overall, the Saints piled on Culpepper 6 times, 5 of them coming from the guys on the front line.
Oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Just being in there with them, man, just allow you to just sit back and just watch them go to work, you know. Man, there's some tremendous guys in any given game, man, they can dominate like that.
I thought our front 4 did a great job today. And they had a good job on the running game and the passing game. They were psyched for this game. They were pumped.
All of this talk about the Saints needing to control the Vikings' big 3, Culpepper, Carter, and Moss. The story was rewritten just a bit. It was the Vikings who had problems keeping the Saints' front 4 out of their own backfield.
We didn't become close to touching Dante Culpepper last year, and you know, the defense want to take it upon themselves to go out there and make it happen. This game was going to be won in the trenches, and both sides of the ball, so we did a great job with that today.
We go out there with that mentality that no one can stop us. Regardless if we're down, we're up, tie game, or no matter who it is. We always feel like that we create mismatches as far as the offensive line is concerned.
But this fantastic foursome didn't act alone. In fact, they're the first to admit that their success up front happened because of what took place behind them.
The DBs did a great job of plastering those receivers. Those are some great receivers. Both of them will be in the Hall of Fame. And we gave up a couple of big plays, but we fought through it most throughout the game. So, you know, this win, you know, the DBs helped us out a lot today.
We work together. They cover and we create pressure.
And what teamwork it's been. Through 3 games, 15 sacks. And according to Joe Johnson, they're just getting warmed up.
We go into the game with the mentality that we're the best defensive line in this game. So we know each Sunday we have to go out there and prove that. And I think we took a step forward as far as proving that today, but we still think we have a ways to go. We have a lot more to offer.
One at a time, good win.
That front 4 for the Saints, really special. Cornerback Fred Thomas, our guest here on 4th down. Our first question, you know, Thomas, Fred, this performance by this defensive front it's just been awesome all 3 games. But today, very, very good against this Minnesota team.
Those guys, you can't say enough about those guys. Front 4, and especially the linebackers, you know, the front 7. You can't say enough of those guys. They make our lives a lot easier. You know, being back there covering those guys like Mosses and the Eric Moes of the league, stuff like that. I mean, we know if we go in the game and get great coverage for like maybe 4 to 5 seconds, there's no offensive line that can hold up to those guys. You can't just key on one guy. You got so many weapons coming at you defensively that it's hard to just key on one guy. And those guys, man, you can't say enough about them.
Is this the best performance you've seen from them since you've been here with the Saints since last season?
I think so. Everybody was on just pin their ears back. You know, you just can't say, well, Joe Johnson had a great game or Leroy Glover had a great game this game. Those guys, all 7 of those guys pinned their ears back, and they knew they smelled blood. They knew we had them down, and they was kind of weakening, so they just went in there and just pinned their ears. You guys hold the deep area, and we'll hold everything up front.
Joe Johnson said it's kind of a teammate thing where, you know, you guys hold those receivers up, give them nothing to throw to, and that pocket just collapses on them. That seems like what happened today a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you give those guys time, they're going to get back there. And that's like we told those guys everywhere. We tell them every day in practice, you get pressure, then we're going to get interceptions. You know, it's all based about, you know, getting turnovers and giving the offense extra opportunities. The more opportunities you give our offense, the more we're going to score. So that's the thing I love about this defense.
The only blemish that we saw watching the game, because we're not playing it, is the touchdown by Moss. He gets 1 touchdown. But all in all, I'd imagine that's the only thing, the real red spot that came up, the red flag that was thrown up, was that touchdown. What's your feelings on that since you're on the field?
Well, the thing was we ran a deep coverage, and Jay, he kind of slipped. And Moss got inside, you know, of me, which Jay, he knows what happened. He knew what to do on that play. It just those things happen. You know, we don't worry about those things. We just say, hey, he got that. Let's go to the next play. And in the league, if you be down on one play, they can come back and put a flame on it. It's hard to put out. So we don't worry about those things.
Chance to win the Giants game didn't happen. You win this game against the Vikings, against 2 teams. Giants went to the Super Bowl. Vikings won the NFC last year. where does this team sit right now? Obviously very confident heading into Carolina next week.
I think so. I think we're confident, but at the same time, we have to realize what type of team Carolina is and everything, and we have to realize what our potentials are. We realize that we keep playing the way we are, we can be a great team, you know. And the thing about it is what I'm proud about is that we have not yet shown what we really have this year. You know, we have not put a complete game together. You know, as offensive-wise, you know, those guys are starting to click, and defensive, we have miscues. So I can imagine what it would be like if we had just all put a complete game together as, you know, offensive unit and defensive unit, especially special team. My hat goes off those guys today because they played well.
Get some offense, boy, this team.
Yeah.
Taking off.
Oh, yeah.
Fred Thomas, we do appreciate your time, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming out on Sunday here on 4th Down on 4. We do appreciate. Under pressure and delivering, Ricky Williams and the Saints do it against the Panthers. Rohan and his receivers find a way against Kentucky. And the Green Wave defense does in TCU. It's all on tonight's 4th Down on 4.
4th down on 4.
The old adage, good things comes to those who wait. Sure was true today, but who wants to wait that long for a Saints victory anyway? Hi again, everyone. I'm Juan Kincaid. Welcome to 4th Down on 4. If you threw your drink down and walked away from the TV set in disgust after the Panthers scored the late go-ahead touchdown, I understand. But if you didn't come back for the final minute 48, you can blame only yourself for that. Another roller coaster performance for the Saints, only this time things end on a high note. Lee Zurich recaps today's nail-biter.
When they say it's a 60-minute game, I believe that.
You can't have much more pressure than this. Down 5 points, ball on the 1-yard line, 1 second to go in the game. Today, the Saints handled that pressure situation, and they handled it with a gutsy call. Carolina probably thinking pass. The Saints run their workhorse running back.
Ricky Williams, the lone setback. They'll pitch it to Ricky. Sweeping left, trying to turn the corner. He's got a pylon. Yeah. He's in!
I got the ball. I looked. I saw everyone inside, you know, pre-snap. And then I got a great block from AC, and I knew I had the corner. I knew when he was running, I knew he couldn't catch me, so I knew I was in.
Mike wanted to run the play for a couple plays, so we'll give it to our best player. You know, you got to have confidence that the guy will make something miss. Our line did a great job blocking, and they were blitzing the crap out of us. So, you know, Ricky got to the edge, and it was a great run. It was a good job up front blocking by the lineman.
It was very gutsy, as far as I'm concerned. It was bringing everybody, which was only right for them. But once we lined up, they gave us the look that we wanted. As I tossed the ball to Ricky, I knew we was in.
The pressure in this one started 1 minute and 48 seconds earlier. After a Carolina touchdown, the Saints were 82 yards away from the end zone with just 1 timeout.
We have those situations in practice all the time. You know, we practice 2-minute drill against our defense, which is a very good defense. The only thing, we just can't run the ball in practice versus our defense because it's unrealistic. I think I've grew up in some ways in terms of what it takes to win in this league. It's hard getting a win in the NFL, that I must say. Nothing will be handed to you.
Nothing was handed to Brooks today, probably his worst game in the pros. He completes just 14 of 40 passes, but 4 did come on that final drive. His 14-yard 4th down completion to Willie Jackson, one of the key points of that 15-play stretch.
Well, Aaron's the same way all the time. He's calm and collected, and he stayed that way. I mean, if you didn't know and you were just stuck in the huddle, you wouldn't know that, you know, there's under 2 minutes to go and we needed to score to win.
Sooner or later, Aaron's going to go make some plays, and he ran the ball effectively. He did some good things. You know, Aaron hasn't been sharp the last couple weeks, but again, he hasn't played a long time, and we're just going to have to overcome all this stuff.
As a quarterback, you always have to stay even keel. During the course of the prior 3 quarters, second, third, second, third, and the beginning of the fourth, there was a lot of frustration. We didn't move the ball as well as we thought we should. We didn't score when we thought we should.
No doubt the Saints will look at this one as a game of missed opportunities. So many chances to blow the Panthers out. Cam Cleland's 16-yard touchdown reception gave the Saints a 17-0 lead in the second quarter, but some key mistakes let the Panthers back in it. The big miscues, this Michael Lewis fumbled punt, which leads to a Carolina touchdown. and then Steve Smith with a 70-yard punt return. That score gives the Panthers a 5-point lead and put all of that pressure on the Saints offense.
In this situation, we should have just, we had them down 17-0. We should have just kept kicking them while they were down and just, put up some points and, made it not even a game. But we got to learn that killer instinct, like I said.
I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down on 4.
Inside our numbers, good start for Aaron Brooks, great finish for the Saints, but he wasn't so accurate in between. Just 14 of 40, 180 yards, 2 touchdown passes and 1 pick. Great day for Ricky Williams on the ground, though. 31 carries, another 100-yard performance, 147 on the game, and of course that game-winning touchdown. Joe Horn, he wanted the ball more. He got it 4 times today, 78 yards, and Cam Cleland finally gets back on the score sheet with 2 touchdown receptions, his first since week 1 at Buffalo. Our guest tonight can kind of give us some more insight on that big comeback, Saints fullback Terrell Smith, and first of all, some nervous moments in that final drive, Terrell.
Yeah, that's something that we practice every day. We basically went out there and put our minds in kind of like a practice mode, and once you practice, you try to make perfect, and basically we came out perfect and scored a touchdown.
Aaron Brooks kind of taking over that last drive. It's a maturation process for this guy. He is still very, very young. Talk about what happened in the huddle. I know you weren't on the whole drive, but
Well, he has a lot of reads, and basically he gets the call, he calls it, and he has to control the whole game, the tempo, everything. And so at times it can be very disturbing, but he really put it together and created a great drive.
The final call, Ricky Williams, we see it here. Ricky Williams going in from 1 yard out. I can't imagine anybody but the coaches making that call. That's a surprise call that probably the Panthers expecting pass again.
Yes, because when we have no fullback in there, what is it? It's a pass. But definitely, I think it was a great call by Mike McCarthy. And they bid for it, and Ricky took it outside because we're normally a in-between tackle, downhill running team. And Ricky took it in and bounced it out, and there it was, touchdown, beat the guy on the outside.
147 yards for Ricky Williams, 31 carries. Second straight game, he's gotten well over 100 yards. I know you guys take pride in getting that tailback over 100 yards, but he seems to be hitting his stride very early in the season.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think he's going to be a great running back this year, which he was last year. But if he could just stay healthy and keep rolling, we're going to do some things.
The offensive line, too. You can't forget about those guys because they open the holes. Again, it seems like the Saints found something in that Panthers defense, just like they did last week. They found something. They kept going to the ground, and it's just paying off.
Definitely. Saints, actually, the Panthers defense was, they were playing some games in there. They have one of the guy, 94, I think his name is Sean. I don't know his last name, but he was in there. He was making some moves, and they kept stunting and showing us all kinds of different fronts. And we basically just kept pushing in the beginning. And then in the end, it comes out the gate, and that's when Ricky started to really make a move.
All right. Well, all these good things to talk about the Saints offense, they're still not quite where they want to be. Even Joe Horn admitted before this game that, once the offense finally catches up with the defense, this team's just going to go. Today it was a fast start, but then you found that lull in the middle. So we can't get consistency or just a complete 60 minutes of play.
Yes, and last year we struggled with it in the beginning, but it takes time. There's a lot of different players that can make plays. You got to give everybody the ball. And it's just basically the right situation at the right time, the right call. And I think Mike McCarthy, our offensive coordinator, is doing a really good job.
Yeah, surprised everyone, even us at home watching that game. We don't like games. We don't like games that close. I tell you.
It surprised me with him going with a run in the end because he normally throws the ball, and we have a great receiving core, so why not? I understand why he wants to throw the ball, but then he also has a well-trained back. So he went with the run, and look what the outcome was.
Kind of a win-win situation.
Yes.
Saints fullback Terrell Smith, our guest here on 4th Down. Much more from him in just a bit, including his take on Panthers quarterback Chris Weinke. Also straight ahead, it's been a while since both Tulane and LSU won on the same weekend. We'll recap both games when 4th Down continues. Stay with us.
Fourth Down on 4 is sponsored by Chevrolet, First American Bank, New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company, Dub Herring Ford, Dub Herring Chrysler, and Papa's Camper City, Amco Transmission.
Fast.
Welcome back to Fourth Down. You know, the Panthers almost upset the Saints through the arm of a rookie quarterback. But at 29 years of age, it's obvious that Chris Winke's not your typical rookie. But the Saints defense was hoping to make him feel and look like a newcomer to the NFL.
Some Tulane players say there's a simple explanation. Seems like it would be hard to explain.
The Saints had a well-deserved reputation for rushing the passer. The Panthers in years past were a sieve up front. But today, a rebuilt and improved offensive line, coupled with a low-risk passing game, nearly allowed Chris Winke to pull out his second victory in the pros. Jim Haslett was a fan of the 29-year-old rookie before the game, and as you might expect, an even bigger one afterward.
He's kind of like Aaron, and nothing really phases him. He sits in there, and we were blitzing him, and he was taking a hit, and nothing really bothers the kid. I think the kid's a good quarterback.
The Panthers rarely looked downfield. Early when they did, Winke was being hurried, hit, or intercepted, and his inexperience was showing.
They were trying to throw the ball quick. They knew we were going to bring some pressure. And at times, he had some good reads, but for the most part, he was just, confused. Our secondary did a good job disguising. He couldn't figure out our coverages.
But after 3 Winke turnovers led to 17 points, he settled down, and the Panthers went back to dinking, dunking, and almost winning.
They wanted to come out and throw quick. They didn't want to have the guy hold the ball, so they were going to throw it fast. And a young guy like Winke, you understand that, and all you can do is really play sound coverage.
The statistics will show that the Saints were held to by far their lowest sack total of the season. But on this day, they didn't tell the story. The scoreboard did. In Charlotte, Jim Henderson, 4th down on 4.
A cold, then hot Chris Winke today. Saints fullback Terrell Smith, our guest here. Chris Winke looked rough early on, struggled a bit early, dropped the ball a number of times early, but then came on hot late. Rookie, not a rookie. 29 years old, it says something.
Yeah, rookie is a rookie, man. Yeah. When I came in, I played a lot as a rookie, and there's times when you go in, you won't understand coverages and all kinds of things. And by me playing on offense and him as well, I could see exactly what he was going through, because at times I get rattled mentally, and by him being the quarterback, he has to be in control of everything. So I think at time in the beginning of the game, he probably they disguised coverages really well, and he couldn't understand or figure it out. And I think after a while, he just settled down and played his game, and he was impressive.
Seems like a guy's going to do well in this league because he has the kind of offense around him that works for him. He's got a big tight end in Wesley Walsh, throw the ball to Mushin Muhammad, guys like that catching the ball. If they can get a running game to help him out a little bit,
yes.
That he's going to be that much better.
Yes, I think he's going to be an excellent quarterback in this league. You just got to keep up the work and keep working hard.
Aaron Brooks kind of similar to him, because Aaron Brooks is still young, and a lot of people don't realize that he just picked up this team late last year and his first full season as a starting quarterback. Similarities between the two, you think?
Aaron Brooks, I think Aaron Brooks, I think there's a lot of similarities. Aaron Brooks is the type of guy that has so much potential, and by what I've seen what Winke did today, he has a lot of potential as well.
Yeah, obviously today's last-minute drive kind of put a lot of confidence in Aaron Brooks, I imagine.
Oh, yes. I mean, basically we practiced that, like I said, and he put it to work. He brought it to life, and he scrambled out the pocket in some situations and making plays, and that's what it's all about on Sunday.
What is it about this team that can win on the road? This is a very important win, because it seems like the NFC West is very, very difficult, very, very stacked, and very balanced this season. To get this victory today on the road, very important.
I think our team, we take on the mindset of always being underdogs, and it's just weird because we know we're not underdogs, but as the world looks at us, we're always underdogs, and when we go in other places, we want to shut them up. We have about 60 players that are hungry for success, and that's when you go out there and you want to shut people up by proving it and getting it done on the field.
Maybe intimidating a little bit, this black-on-black uniform thing you guys got going on?
I love it, man. I mean, it was like I was out there like loving it. I mean, it was the black uniform, and it looks great, I think.
Atlanta coming up next for you guys. Atlanta struggled today against San Fran. They lose in overtime. But again, the NFC West is so balanced right now. You don't want to slip up against this team coming in here. They're the Saints' biggest rival. You got them at home. Talk about that game a little bit.
I think I haven't got into it yet. I will get into it this week a lot. I think, like Hazard set the tone, no matter who we're playing, it's going to be a 60-minute fight. That's what you got to come in there thinking. It's just like, you know, let's say like when Lennox Lewis fought, you know, the guy that knocked him out. It's going to be a 60-minute fight. You got to stay in there and just stay poised, and you got to, no matter who you play, you always got to take them serious. Can't take no one lightly. And basically, Hazard told us this week this was going to be a 60-minute fight, and it was 60-minute fight.
Falcon fans, you know, they may say, well, it doesn't matter what the records are in this game. Saints fans say the same thing.
Exactly.
You know, you got to strap it on and play in this game because such a heated rivalry.
Yes, exactly. Last year
you went through it last year.
Yeah, I went through it last year, actually out there. I didn't get to play in the one here because I was injured, but last year I went out there and I discovered what the rival was all about. And I like that kind of game, you know. It gets you pumped. It puts a little more fire under it, you know.
Okay, Terrell Smith, man, we do appreciate your time. Terrell Smith joining us here on 4th Down. We appreciate him coming down right off the plane, pretty much. Still ahead here on
3-1 with room for a great deal of improvement on offense. Aaron Brooks hasn't played to the fans' expectations yet, and yet he's won 3 games and nearly won another. Yesterday, the Panthers, who had not been a blitzing team, gambled and often won the battle.
Teams are going to come after him. You know, they're afraid of him running around and sitting back there and picking you apart. But I think that's going to be all something that he's going to go through a learning phase. But I think you saw the real offense the last 2 minutes.
It's hard to believe that the St. Louis Rams can be the same awesome team without either Kurt Warner or Marshall Faulk. Warner was battered by the Giants in a 1-point victory yesterday. Faulk was knocked out of that game. And now the question that fans both in St. Louis and here are asking is, for how long? Faulk suffered a bone bruise to his right knee when he's bent over backward on this carry. It's the same knee he had arthroscopic surgery on last November. An MRI showed no ligament or cartilage damage. A Rams spokesman told Eyewitness Sports this afternoon that Faulk could play this Sunday against the Jets, though in all likelihood he'll be rested as a precaution. The Saints visit the Rams a week from this Sunday, and then the Rams have their bye week the week after. Deciding a couple of playoff series in the American League today and tonight. In the 8th inning in Seattle, the Mariners lead the Indians 3-1 in an elimination game, and tonight, with first pitch about 7:15, the A's and the Yankees will do the same. 2nd and 1, 1 yard, 1 second, 1 play, with victory or defeat determined by its success or failure. A 60-minute game came down to its final second. A 100-yard field came down to its final 3 feet. On a day in which Ricky Williams had rushed 30 times for 146 yards and had rushed 46 yards for his longest carry as a Saint, his 31st carry for his 147th yard put an exclamation point on the drive. Call it 2nd and wonderful, and the Saints' 3rd win of the season. It was a classic opportunity for the Saints to be upset, coming off an emotional win against a hated rival in the Vikings, taking on a Panther team they had beaten 5 of their last 7 times, a 1-3 team that had lost 3 straight, an underdog that looked ready to roll over and have its stomach scratched in contentment over the final 3 quarters after falling behind 17-0. But then on this soggy Charlotte day, the Saints' West Coast offense turned into the Saints' wet toast offense. The special teams turned philanthropic, and the Saints' seemingly comfortable 20-12 lead after 3 quarters became a 25-20 deficit with 1:48 to play. But thanks to a Saints team that has learned how to win and expects to, and a Panther team that has learned how to lose and can't expect not to, a touchdown on the game's final play preserved Jim Haslett's perfect record when his team leads after 3 quarters. He's now 11-0 and enhanced his road record to 9-2. Pretty impressive record after an incomparably thrilling finish. If you have any interest in the Saints, be it passionate or merely passive, your mood will be elevated for an entire week without any additional stimulus. And I just don't know how you get this wonderful feeling legally any other way. That's a look at sports.
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
The final yard proved to be the most important as Ricky runs over the Carolina comeback.
I'm 240 pounds, and it's tough to stop me, you know, from 1 yard away. So I think it wasn't a gutsy call. I think it's an easy call.
We'll hear more from Ricky on finally becoming the offensive threat he was drafted to be.
Plus, we'll toot the horn of another Saint offensive weapon. Find out what drives Joe Horn to success.
And what does Coach Hassett say about his men in black playing all 60 minutes? Find out when we go one-on-one. This is Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
Well, I think it's pretty simple. Ricky Williams gets his 1,600 yards. He gets his $1 million bonus, and the Saints make the playoffs.
Well, I think that's coming from you. That says a lot. But you have to give him credit.
That is a revelation here from a guy who's firmly entrenched.
Well.
Yep, I'm firmly entrenched in the Deuce McAllister fan club, but I don't know. I may have to get out of the corner here.
What do you think, Harry?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you know what? Just like the players, we all got to take it one game at a time. So we got to get ready for Atlanta this week. Wait. Marshall Faulk is hurt. He might not be able to play against the Saints, and Kurt Warner got hit 6 times the other day. Maybe I'm looking ahead to that St. Louis game as well.
Now, Mike Marks is saying today that Marshall Faulk may be ready to go for the Jets game this week. So I think he's going to play as the Saints continued their march, as Harry said, to October 28th in their first of 2 meetings with the Rams in St. Louis.
Well, the Falcons come to the Superdome this Sunday to take on one of 6 teams in the NFC with a winning record.
The Saints were 1 second away from being 2-2 instead of 3-1, but Ricky Williams ran over the Panthers' hopes for an upset.
Ricky Williams has rushed for 429 yards in 4 games. His 429th yard was the biggest of the season.
I mean, in that game like that, you know, going back and forth, I mean, everyone stepped up when they had to. So I just felt like, you know, it was just my turn to step up. So in a game like that, like I said, it's kind of a natural feeling to feel like, you know, you want to do your part.
Williams has carried the ball 95 times. He's also caught 14 passes, 3rd highest total on the team. When the Saints drafted Deuce McAllister in the 1st round, Ricky's days as a Saint were thought to be numbered. But through 4 games, he is the Saints' MVP.
Bottom line is this. You got a heck of an offensive line, and you got a heck of a running back. You want to give it to your best player in your best line.
Williams is now on a pace to rush for 1,716 yards. He would collect a $1 million bonus for reaching 1,600 yards. The Saints may run the West Coast offense, but they are playing sledgehammer football, with Ricky Williams laying the wood to opposing defenses.
You know, earlier in the season, the 49ers were running the ball, but they've become a pass-happy unit as of late. The Rams always throw the football. The Falcons like to throw it, especially with Jamal Anderson being out. The Saints may be the only team in the division who can consistently run the football.
Which is interesting because the NFC tends to be a division that likes to run and grind the football, and that's what the Saints are doing.
An indoor team playing outdoor football. Well, we went outdoors yesterday against Carolina, where Aaron Brooks was only 14 of 40 passing. But on the last drive, when it counted, Brooks produced under pressure, and the Panthers' defense did not. Let's take you inside the game.
Aaron Brooks needs to recognize bad plays and check out of them more often. On this screen to Ricky Williams, the Saints have 2 blocking 3. A quick pre-snap read should tell Brooks this play won't work. In the 3rd quarter, the Saints used 2 timeouts in the space of 2 minutes, 7 seconds on the same drive. The Saints could have used those timeouts on the final drive. But then Brooks makes a play like this. Defender in his space. He throws off his back foot, a strike to Cam Cleveland for a touchdown. One of the big reasons why Ricky Williams is having a big season, his teammates have done a great job blocking up front. Joe Horn springs Ricky for 10. Then Cam Cleveland springs Ricky for 46 yards. On Steve Smith's 70-yard punt return for a touchdown, the officials miss an obvious clip. Number 40, Jared Cooper, does a great acting job, but clearly knocks number 31, Richard Newsom, down from behind. Smith was then off to the races. The Panthers had the lead, but forgot that one of the reasons they came back was pressure on Aaron Brooks. On 4th and 10, Carolina rushes 4 and drops 7. Brooks steps up to complete a 14-yard pass to Willie Jackson. On the game's final play, the Panthers had 8 up tight. Blocks by Albert Connell and Willie Rofe put Ricky in the end zone.
You know, Kim, one of the things that turned the game around was that Carolina, I think, really started to pressure Aaron Brooks and get a lot of pressure right up the middle. Then on the last drive, they kind of set back a little bit, played zone defense on 4th and 10 when the Saints receivers weren't getting a lot of separation, and I think it cost them.
It did cost him. What an incredible comeback. Now, it wasn't pretty, but it was a win. Reminds me of something that Rudy T used to say, never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Well, I hope
we'll
he's right at the end of the year.
We'll see if he's right in January. Well, the exciting finish in Charlotte got the attention of sports writers across the nation, some saying Ricky Williams has reached the top echelon of running backs in the NFL. Let's go inside the headlines. If you woke up in Charlotte this morning, the Charlotte Observer read, glorious comeback comes unraveled. ESPN.com says Williams scores winner on game's last play. The Sporting News reads, Ricky Williams runs for TD as time expires. Saints top Panthers. CNNSI.com says Carolina Blue. Saints down Panthers 27-25 on last-second touchdown. And NOLA.com says 1 yard, 1 second, Ricky Williams saves Saints. A week of fantastic finishes in the NFL, including an overtime showdown in Atlanta, plus the Rams make it 5 straight. Let's go inside the West for a look at Sunday's action. And over in St. Louis, the Rams getting pumped up before the game. But in the third, Marshall Faulk fumbles and the Giants come up with the ball. But bad news for the Rams. Faulk sprains his ACL in the play. Rams coach Mike Martz hopes Faulk won't miss more than 3 or 4 games. After 3 field goals put the Rams up 9-7, Kerry Collins avoids the rush and finds Louisiana native Ike Hilliard for the touchdown. Giants take the 14-9 lead, but the Rams come back. Trun candidate in for the injured Faulk. 3-yard winning touchdown run as the Rams escape with a 15-14 win.
Unusual that the Rams win at home and Kurt Warner doesn't throw a touchdown pass. Now, Mike Martz a few minutes ago said that Marshall Faulk, he thought he might even play with a bruised knee this week against the Jets. So if there's a possibility, he's listed as out now.
Right.
But if there's a possibility that he's going to play this week, then my guess is he'll probably be ready next week.
I tell you what, Marshall Faulk, clearly the MVP, one of the best players in the league, but it's Kurt Warner that the Rams can't win without. So
I think that's especially true now that Trent Green is in Kansas City. Well, here is now a look at where things stand in the NFC West. St. Louis remains the league's lone unbeaten, 5-0. The 49ers moved to 4-1. The Saints also off to a good start at 3-1. The Falcons are 2-3, and the Panthers bring up the rear at 1-4.
these are the hands of a one-time dishwasher who didn't know he'd make a splash in the NFL. We'll look at the driving force behind Joe Horn, the man.
Sunday's game showed Aaron Brooks is still learning. We'll go one-on-one with Jim Haslett to talk about the young quarterback's growing pains. More ahead on Inside Saints.
Joe Little Bighorn is a force on and off the field.
The sensational Saints receiver is animated and driven to win at all costs. In fact, it's easy to misunderstand his motivation, but he insists it's just business, and to him, that's personal. Let's go inside the helmet of Saints wide receiver Joe Horn. His teammates call him Hollywood. Joe Horn is either making an amazing catch or sharing tricks of the trade with his crew. Or perhaps he's in his team's spokesman role with the media, or his other role as coach, friend, and counselor. Joe doesn't like to toot his own horn, but he's paid the price for his success.
I wash dishes, I clean furniture, I did whatever I have to do and took the long road to the NFL.
After playing 2 years in junior college, Horn spent the next year working to support his family. In '94, he played in the CFL before going to the Chiefs in '96. Last year, he set single-season team records with 94 catches for 1,340 yards with the Saints after signing a free agent contract in the offseason. He's definitely one of the loudest voices on the team, but there's another side to this fiery competitor.
And I just want people to know that I'm a very loving person. I'm off the football field, and the Hollywood and the big mouth Joe Horn that they see on TV or they hear about really is not that type of guy.
He takes the game seriously, but he'll also give you the shirt off his back. It's an interesting mix. He's a big brother to many of his teammates. That's because other NFL players helped guide him when he was younger, so he calls it his duty to return the favor. He says his wife has been a constant source of strength, especially during his fight to get to the NFL.
She's been by my side the whole time. She doesn't know too much. She didn't know then too much about football. All she knew was how to back me, like her mother taught her, because she's from a Christian family.
Now that he's made it, he wants to enjoy the ride, win a couple of Super Bowls, and walk away from the game when he's ready, without needing anything else from the NFL.
I don't want to be an announcer. I don't want to be a coach. I want to retire, go to the country, hunt and fish, and just, own some businesses and stuff like that. I want to walk away from the game, but when I walk away, I want to look back and see that New Orleans Saints is a champion caliber team, and nobody disrespects the Saints.
I don't know, I kind of like to see Joe Horn in an announcer role.
You know what, though? I'm glad he says he's not going to be, because in my opinion, all these guys who rip the media, okay, you know where they wind up when they're finished playing football?
In the media.
Yeah, in the media, on television. Wait a minute.
Joe Horn hasn't caught any touchdowns yet this season.
Right. Close on Sunday.
Close on Sunday.
Right.
But he says as long as they win, he's okay, and he did catch a few more passes yesterday.
Joe Horn, I'm paid to make plays. Standard quote.
The Saints defense is used to sacking quarterbacks, how they're teaming up to help sack cancer, how you can join the cause.
No team's ever beaten Jim Haslett when his team's ahead in the third quarter. Why that statistic almost vanished in Charlotte, and how the Saints needed every second in their strike back. We'll go one-on-one with Jim Haslett next on Inside Saints.
Inside the heart of this team is a desire to tackle causes that help kids. Every time the Saints do this during the season, it means more than lost yardage for the opposing team. It means dollars for children fighting cancer. Lori Glover teamed up with Children's Hospital and ABC 26 Children First for the Sacks for Kids campaign. Here's how you can take part. Pick up a pledge card at one of these locations, fill it out, and every time the Saints sack an opposing quarterback, you make a donation to Sacks for Kids. If you return your pledge card to Children's Hospital, you become part of a contest to win tickets to Super Bowl 36 in New Orleans.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
Since we're in the baseball postseason, we'll use a baseball analogy. Jim Haslett has become the Mariano Rivera of the coaching profession. He is a perfect 11-0 when his teams are headed into the fourth quarter. But this time, he didn't just come out of the bullpen and go 3 up, 3 down. This time, Jim Haslett, his team needed a home run in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, we had to pull a little strings to get this one, but I didn't know we were 11-0 going in the fourth quarter, but, hopefully he can continue to do that. But yeah, this was one of those games that was a barn burner, and our guys did a good job of executing a 2-minute offense. Probably as good as I've seen since I've been in the league. And really, we don't execute that well against our own defense. And I thought Aaron and the rest of the offense were poised. You hit one timeout in a minute 48, moved the ball well, utilized the timeout at the right time. Clocked the ball at the right time, made some, Joe and Willie Jack and a couple guys made some good catches, and Aaron made good decisions. So it was a well-executed 2-minute drill.
Yeah, it's a good situation, I guess, to be in when we're complaining. You're 3-1, and oh man, we did. Win's a win, right, in this league?
Well, I said there's more one way to skin a cat, and I said it before. A month from now, no one's even going to remember this game, and you're going to look back and say they're 3-1, and let's go on. I've been on a number of teams in years where you won 12 games, and 5 of them were by a missed field goal, a Hail Mary, something like this. And it really doesn't make a difference how you win as long as you win. I think the most important thing is good teams win games like that. I think great teams, if we want to become that, can't be in those type of situations. We had that game under control in the first quarter, and we really should have took care of business, and we didn't do a great job of that. So I think we're a good team, and we got to take that next step now.
Aaron Brooks, To me, it looks like a young John Elway, but you know, that road to the Hall of Fame can have a lot of winding roads. It got to show you. It has to show you something about his pedigree, though. That even though he was 18 of 40, he pulled it together at the end and really got it done. Similar to a John Elway through his career at the end.
Well, as we went on before the 2-minute drill, and we threw 20 passes in those two 2-minute drills, he didn't make great decisions. He got some pressure. He got pushed in the pocket. The team really came after him. We didn't do the best job sometimes of putting him in position to make plays. But I thought the Royal Aaron Brooks stepped up in the fourth quarter and really took control of the football team and showed what kind of leader and what kind of guy he really is.
I always like to get something else out of you before we let you go.
Okay.
What about college football? And as you look at Nick Saban, you look at the SEC type guys that can make $2 million a year coaching college football now. Does that ever appeal to you? The recruiting aspects and all like that, as opposed to this league where when you have success, they tear you down, they make you draft last. Would college, you think you'd ever like that experience?
You know what? I coached 3 years at a Division I AA school, and I really did like it. I liked recruiting. I liked being out there with the young kids. The football part of it was different because you don't have them all day. They're in class. So to me, you get them for 2 hours a day. That kind of bothers me because there's limitations on what you can do with them. What you do on the field, I think you're limited on what you can do because obviously the classroom is not as long, and then you're worrying about academics and everything else. I think there's some appeal there because it is young student athletes, but I don't know in the long run if that's ultimately what, I mean, my goal is always to win the Super Bowl, so a national championship would be great, but I think if you got it, you'd still win a Super Bowl.
And then, you can coach through 72, like Bowden and Paterno.
Yeah, well, that's always a possibility. I don't think I can last that long.
Yeah, I tell you what, this guy's going to be a free agent at the end of next year. He is the lowest paid coach in the league. That's just something to think about down the road, Mr. Benson. With every win, that price tag probably going up and up. And then one name I did mention in there, Joe Paterno. Jim Haslett might be from some state, Pennsylvania or something, so maybe down the road, we may need to get this guy and Randy Mueller signed up.
Well, you would never say never, but I guess kind of a little precedent was set this year when Al Groh left the Jets and went to Virginia. Although I really don't see that in Jim Haslett's future. I really don't.
No, I think the one thing he talked about, he loves football. He loves all day. He details what he's going to do all day. He can't do that in college.
Right. I don't think he liked the 20-hour rule very much.
Yeah, but this guy's also a step ahead of everybody, too, and he's always thinking, down the road. He knows how the NFL tears you down. He'll have success here now, then maybe that next job, go to college. And like I say, you can coach till you're 70 years old in college. The good players just keep coming to you when you have success.
All right, Harry. Well, we'll look for that then.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Last year, the Saints swept the Falcons. What will they need to do this week to keep the streak going?
The answer, plus our predictions when Inside Saints returns.
Inside Saints, brought to you by the local Chrysler dealers.
As of Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock, there are 6,018 tickets remaining for Sunday's showdown with the Falcons in the Dome. Kickoff is set for noon.
The Saints will be welcoming a contingent of Cajuns to the Crescent City this weekend. Fans from Lafayette, Thibodaux, and Lafourche Parish are being bussed in for the game. It's all part of the team's regional community days, giving fans across the South a chance to be at the Dome to see the Saints. And they may see a good one Sunday. It wasn't long ago that the Saints-Falcons matchup was about bragging rights only. Now the games could mean the difference between the postseason or being home for the holidays.
A key matchup this weekend will be Chris Chandler and the Saints defense. Last year, the Saints had 2 interceptions, including Sammy Knight's 31-yard touchdown return, and then a circus stunt interception by former Saint Alex Molden. And with a healthy Ricky Williams around this time, expect a better ground game and plenty of excitement.
Well, prediction time. I'm going to go last
Go,
this
Harry.
week?
We'll let Harry go first.
Oh, okay. We'll let Harry go first. I know what he's going to say, but go ahead, Harry.
Well, you know, Aaron Brooks has never even been the most famous quarterback at his family reunions. Aaron Brooks, of course, is the first cousin with Michael Vick. That all changes this year because Aaron Brooks and the Saints get the best of Vick and the Falcons, and this is a good old Dirty Bird stomping at the Dome this weekend.
Ricky and the Saints.
Yeah, I don't think there's much question about that one. No. Better football team wins it all. From all of us here at ABC 26, we thank you for watching and taking the journey inside Saints. We'll see you next week.
The Saints offense goes south in the duel with the Dirty Birds. It was a doggone good Saturday night for the Tigers in Starkville, while the Green Wave leave Birmingham battered and bruised. It's all on tonight's 4th Down on 4.
4th down. 4th down on 4.
You know, home cooking is supposed to be a good thing for the home team. Right now, the Saints are having trouble digesting Falcon. Welcome to another Sunday night edition of 4th Down on 4. I'm Juan Kincaid. Jim Haslett, he said that Super Bowl winning teams take care of their home turf first. But the Saints' struggles inside the Dome continues. 3-5 a year ago, now 1-1 this season following today's loss to Atlanta. Lee Zurich has more on today's struggles inside the Superdome.
That's just bottom line.
From creative to conservative, Saints offensive coordinator Mike McCarthy led an innovative offense last year. Today against Atlanta, it looked inconsistent and at times maybe lacking some imagination. In the second half, the Saints did not attempt to pass on a first down during their first 6 possessions. The Falcons say they were well aware of what the Saints were running.
They were prepared for our game plan. They were prepared for it. They watched film. They watched film. Yeah, all I heard is a couple of them said, hey, we script y'all well in the 4th quarter with like a minute left. We script y'all well. Right now, laps.
Were you too conservative, you think, on offense?
I mean, that's something I think, I'll evaluate tomorrow. But, I don't think and they say you're too conservative, but when you're running a ball with a 240-pound back with the ability of Ricky Williams, I don't think you can give a guy the ball enough time, especially when you're getting the defensive looks that you're not overloading the box area.
Stopping the running game, the big key for Atlanta. The Saints rushed for 45 yards in the first half, just 18 in the second.
They stopped the run in the second half, and they went on 3rd downs. Those are the 2 things. I mean, we came in at halftime. I don't know what the stats were. We were outstanding on 3rd down, and I can only recall, I think I was only converting 1 in the second half. So, you don't convert 3rd downs and you don't run the ball in normal down and distance, first down, a second 1 to 7, then, you're going to have problems. And that's kind of the trap we fell into in the second half.
The Saints quarterback Aaron Brooks left the locker room before any media could talk to him. His numbers today really didn't look that bad. He completed 23 of 39 passes, threw for 249 yards, but Brooks definitely struggled against the Falcons today. Brooks and the offense haven't been in a rhythm all season. Today's only touchdown, a 19-yard reception by Cam Cleveland.
We're searching a little. I think we're trying to search for whatever, find our identity early, and that's what we want. We want to score early and put the teams away. We did that versus Carolina, but then we didn't finish it off. This week we got down early, then we came back, and we just didn't finish it off. We're having a problem just keeping that rolling. I think that we need to find that and be able to sustain it 4 quarters, because you got to play 4 quarters.
The defense played well for 2 quarters. They held the Falcons scoreless in the 2nd and 3rd, but gave up a big play in Atlanta's first drive. And another Falcons touchdown in the 4th quarter, both coming off Chris Chandler's play-action passes.
And when you don't stop the run in this league, that's what happened. Opening up for the passing attack. I mean, I take full responsibility of it because that's my job to stop the run, and I didn't do a good job of it today, and it kind of left our DBs in the hole back there.
The first one was we were in a 2-deep coverage, and we just blew the coverage, and they ran a good play-action fake right at the linebacker, and the linebacker didn't take the deep ball. And the second one was kind of in between. It was could have been a safety, it could have been a linebacker.
They just made more plays than us. That was it. They came in with a great game plan. They executed well. We didn't. We didn't stop the run in the first half, opened up their passing attack, and that's just basically it. I mean, they just kicked out.
This our house, baby. What? What?
Yeah, something to lose, son, baby.
At the Superdome, I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down on 4.
Breaking things down just a bit, the numbers on Brooks a bit deceiving. 23 of 39, as Lee said, 249 yards, a touchdown, picked off once, but he did struggle. We'll touch on that a lot more a bit later on. The Saints didn't run the ball well, not like they hoped to. Ricky Williams just 51 yards on 21 carries. In fact, Williams had more receiving yards, 65, than ground yards. Joe Horn, Willie Jackson both had 5 catches apiece. Overall, just 276 total yards for the Saints. The first time under 300 this season. The Falcons were the big reason why, getting to Aaron Brooks 5 times, and that's the most times that he's been sacked this season as well. Much more to get to surrounding this game today, and a little bit later on, we'll get you caught up on both LSU and Tulane. But straight ahead, we'll break down Aaron Brooks' day in and out of the pocket. Is he the reason why this offense is struggling? Is a change at quarterback warranted? That's next. Stay with us. You know, we all remember what Aaron Brooks did when he took over the Saints quarterbacking duties from an injured Jeff Blake late last season, leading the team to its first ever playoff victory. So with a healthy Brooks back, it's only right to expect bigger and better things from him this season. But so far, things haven't worked out quite the way everyone had hoped. And today's performance against the Falcons was yet another reminder of how far he and this offense is off track. Of all the places the Saints were expected to struggle this season, quarterback is not one of them. Against the Falcons today, and for the 5th straight game, Aaron Brooks had trouble consistently moving the team. It was even more of a shock today considering his troubles came against the league's worst-rated pass defense. But Haslett says his numbers weren't really that bad at all.
I don't know what his numbers were, but he had about 200 yards passing. He was like 16 for 26. I'm not sure exactly what they were, but you know, I thought, you know, for the most part, he did okay. He threw the one ball, was intercepted. It led to 3 points. But really, after that, I think one time he was like 9 for 11.
23 of 39, 249 yards. On the surface, not too bad. But the Falcons' defense controlled the tempo, and they controlled what the Saints' offense could and could not do. New Orleans ran well in the first half, couldn't get anything on the ground the second. And the passing game was very ineffective all game long.
They had a spy on him. They had a guy sitting there looking for crossing routes, also spying him. So we were going to try to run the ball, and we did in the first half. In the second half, we didn't run the ball very well. And then, you know, we came out in the second half, tried to open them up a little bit and throw the ball a little bit more. And I thought they played well on defense.
So well that they spent a lot of time in the Saints' backfield, sacking Brooks 5 times.
They haven't been playing as well as they played today. You know, they've been giving up big plays, and today they didn't.
But should all the blame be laid on Brooks? Sometimes we forget he's only started 10 games in his NFL career. So is it fair to say that Brooks is what's slowing the team down? His teammates don't think so.
They put a great game plan together. We just got to start executing. I mean, like I said, they pay the coach and we pay the play.
We need to put it together, and I don't know if it's a wake-up call, but it's gonna shock to our system and say, hey guys, we need to pick this up. This is the 5th week, but we got to pick this up now.
Now, one more note on Aaron Brooks. He's now 1-1 against the Falcons. In those 2 starts, he's been pretty sharp, completing over 60% of his passes, but not getting in the end zone that much. Today's hookup with Cam Cleveland was only his first touchdown pass.
We can't. We've put it behind us already, haven't we? Willie Roaf's knee required an MRI this afternoon, the results of which are not yet known. Jim Haslett called him doubtful today. And he called himself remorseful for losing his temper in the post-game news conference following the loss to the Falcons. Recently, Falcon quarterback Chris Chandler had been ducking out of the post-game media heat in the locker room. Yesterday, Aaron Brooks followed suit. Today, player and coach reassessed their actions.
I shouldn't have went off and said what I said. I don't even know his name, and I apologize to him. And Aaron needs to stick around and take the heat too. So I think it's something. To be honest with you, both Aaron and I learned something from.
Looking at the results around the year.
So, you know, that's a mouthful because I think Peyton's an outstanding player.
As we concluded yesterday's radio broadcast of the Saints' loss to the Falcons, our engineer Robert Carroll remarked to no one in particular, "Wow, I haven't felt like this in a long time." It had been a long time since the Saints had lost to an inferior team through substandard effort, maybe all the way back to nearly 2 years ago when Mike Ditka's Saints lost in the Dome to the winless Cleveland Browns, about the only team that appeared to be inferior to that New Orleans Saints team. But yesterday, the long honeymoon between Saints fans and the vastly improved regime the January 2000 house cleaning inspired was, if not ended, at least interrupted. The Saints heard their own fans booing them, many of them walking out of the Superdome in frustration over the offense's ineptitude with more than 7 minutes to go in what was only a 7-point deficit at the time. Afterward, for the first time in this new era, contention returned to the Saints locker room between coaches and some of the media, some of the players in the media, and everyone was shocked back into the reality of the NFL. A reality we'd all been blissfully insulated from for one joyful season and 4 games of a second that produced a 3-1 start. Now everyone gets to examine what's inside of them. Everyone who coaches for, works for, plays for, or roots for this football team. As fate would have it, there's a signpost up ahead. It reads St. Louis, and it can be the twilight zone for this football team's expectations or a highlight zone that snaps this team to attention. St. Louis was where Aaron Brooks exploded into the NFL's consciousness. St. Louis was the team against whom he led the Saints to their first playoff victory. St. Louis was the last team he looked comfortable against. Certainly not the Vikings a week later, nor the first 5 opponents in this season. The season wasn't lost yesterday, only a game was, and to a degree, the belief that lofty preseason hopes can be realized. In the NFL right now, there is parity and a rarity.